Welcome back, Miami Dolphins. Hit that like and subscribe if you enjoy. Today we're going to be going over the 2.0 mock draft, but this time we're going to be going all 7 rounds, and I'm going to be discussing why in these 7 rounds we picked these certain players. And I think that when you look at this is going to be flip-flop. If you watch my first mock draft, it's going to be basically the defensive part being drafted first. This one we're going to flip it, and we're going to go offense. And, what you get to see in this mock draft and what you're going to see in this draft is that there's a lot of players that can make an immediate impact in these first 2 rounds and even in the later rounds if the Dolphins just draft right. If they draft right, we can pick some picks that can honestly, a lot of people don't want to hear this. Super Bowl just ended. They can turn this franchise around. They can make a difference, and they can really we can go from being like a old team to a completely new and rejuvenated team with this draft. So if they do these, if they pick the right picks and they have the right impact immediately, we can change this franchise literally right now. We're going to get into it. All right, with what we are seeing here, first round, the first draft that I had, I took Walter Nolan. I think what we're going to do is learn a lot from this last Super Bowl on how the Eagles built this type of unstoppable team. You don't need an all-star quarterback. You just need the all-star team. So we're going to see, unfortunately, they've taken Mike Green. But what we're going to do in this draft, Will Campbell, if he falls this far, I'd say get him. Will Campbell is a one of one. But I want to be a little more realistic. And what I'm thinking here is this draft, since I went Walter Nolan last draft, I want to go for offense this time. So your choices are basically going to be Kelvin Banks and Armand Membo. And the reason behind that is because these two, they look like guards. They look like they're going to play guard at the next level. You can see the first look, the size and everything, 6'4", 320. That's a guard right there. And then you got Armand Membo, that is 6'3", 314. So 2 guys that say tackle, but in reality, they're probably going to transition to guard. What I want is someone that can be able to move around. And I think Kelvin Banks is a good pass blocker. He's good at all this stuff. But the pick of Armand Membo, which is the one I'm going to go for in this round, obviously if Will Campbell's there, I think he's somebody that you take a look at. I don't think that he's going to be there. I think they have Tyler Warren instead of Will Campbell going to the Chicago Bears, which is like wild. So with this one, I'm probably going to take Armand Membo. And the reason behind that is because Armand Membo in college, he was really agile. Like, honestly, the comp probably would be similar to, who can I put here? I mean, kind of like a better Austin Jackson coming out of college. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but the thing is Austin Jackson, when he went down, kind of derailed the whole entire run game in the season. So Armand Membo is a very good, agile offensive guard that's going to be able to run to the outside. If you noticed during our season, whenever we would have outside zone runs, nobody would be blocking anybody because nobody would get to the outside quick enough. With this pick, if you're going offensive line, now, of course, I can go for Kelvin Banks. Even Josh Simmons might make some sense here, but again, he's still not like that type of guy. I think he's more of a tackle. When you get Armand Membo, you're going to be getting that agile guard that you can put on that left side, and I think you would have a very, very good offensive guard, and that would fill a huge hole. So if you're going to go for that, I think seeing the Eagles right now, if you're going to go offensive lineman, I think that would be my pick here in this draft. Now we're going to go to the second round. And right now, one of my picks that I've seen, Princely Umamalin, he's gone. Carson Schweisinger, he's gone. Tyler Booker is gone. So what we got right here is Omar Norman Lott, who's going to be that defensive tackle that you could pick up. And he's got that like run stuffing, honestly, he's one of the picks that I would look at. And also Jalen Walker, he's going to be another guy. I know some people see Xavier Restrepo. I don't think we take a receiver in the second round. Kyle Kennard is another one that I could see here. It's just he's more of a potential guy, so he's kind of like this is not loading, but kind of a hard sell right here. So me personally, I think You want to go offensive line, defensive line. We have a decent amount of pass rushers this coming year, with Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, and all them coming back from injury. You have Chop Robinson. Zach Seal is a pretty good one. The problem was a lot of the time is we would get the ball run all over us, and that was a product of not having Christian Wilkins in that middle. So me personally, I think if he's here, this is an easy pickup right now. When you look at Omar Norman-Lott, pass rusher, he can defend the run, 18% pass rush win rate. That's incredible for a defensive tackle. And you see the size right here. 6'3", 315. This dude is a monster. He's going to eat up space. And, I'm telling you right now, I don't think there's a choice here. I think if he's there, you definitely want to go and get him. He's going to be a space eater. He's going to free up Zach Sealer, and it's going to create a whole bunch of pass rush for the outside guys. So this one I want to disregard because we don't have a third-round pick. So I'm just going to sit here and pretend that we pick up Jalen Milroe. We don't have a third-round pick, so I don't know why that this simulates that we do. So we're going to go to the fourth round. And right here, you got a couple of choices. Barrett Carter, he is one of those that is a high potential linebacker. He's got the prototypical size and everything like that. He is somebody that you want to take a look at. I know some people would sit here and go Jackson Dart. It's an option, 100%. Guy is an option. But I think there's much more needs than getting a rookie quarterback with a lot of potential. That I don't see them doing that this year. Kind of this year is the all or nothing year, so you don't want to get someone that's basically not going to contribute at all. So right now I see Barrett Carter. That's someone that I'm looking at. And Jack Kaiser is another one. I think those two would be solid picks, but I want to go for someone that's going to most likely be able to contribute immediately. Jack Kaiser, I think, is someone that when you look at the size, the intangibles, all of that, he played really good for the Irish this year. And the thing is with Barrett Carter is he might be more of an Landon Roberts, which, the problem with most of our linebackers besides who we had, which, again, if you look at free agency, we'll go over free agency. I say Terrell Dodson, you need to sign back. His coverage is lacking. So people are going to take advantage of him in his coverage. So honestly, when you're looking at this, I think Jalen Knoll is another one that you could possibly look at. You look at the size and everything, he's kind of the guy that Mike McDaniel likes. But when you look at this, Jack Kaiser, he's going to be kind of that solid overall linebacker that I think has a better floor than what Barrett does. I think he has a better floor. I think he has a lot more intangibles that, when you look at this, he's a good run defender, good pass rusher. He's decent in coverage, but that can be worked on, whereas Barrett Carter, he's kind of more, he's more of a run stuffer. He's got a lot of potential, but I think when you're looking at the fourth round, you want to get someone that, has that high floor, that can come in and contribute. You don't want to get another Channing Tindall, where he's just got all these things that are cool, but you're not really sure if they're going to translate to the NFL. So for me, actually, I didn't even see Mitchell Evans over here. He might be another one that you can kind of think about. Of course, it's not loading. So I think you go Notre Dame in this fourth round. This is another option here. Mitchell Evans, big tight end that you can put over there. But I don't know. I think it all depends on what happens in free agency. We'll just say that they signed Terrell Dodson in free agency. And you got Aeneas Peebles. That's another name right there. This one's tough. I don't know what I'm doing here. It's either Mitchell Evans or Jack Kaiser. Man, what do you need more? Because at this point the safeties, I think you're going to get a safety in free agency. You don't really have time to be dealing with the safeties. Billy Bowman is going to be like a run stuffing safety. He's not someone that he's an option, but I don't know. I think when you see Jack Kaiser there and you see who else? You see Mitchell Evans. Oh, man. This is going to be if this turns out like this round, there's a lot of players that could probably come in and contribute immediately. What do you do? What do you do here? I think you got tight end. You can get a backup. I think you go Jack Kaiser. I think that's just the best overall pick right here. I go Jack Kaiser. So now we're at the end of the 4th round. Now this one's going to be a little tricky. Aeneas Peebles is right there. Billy Bowman is right there. And I think you need some sort of safety depth. So I think you pick Billy Bowman. I think that's kind of rounding out. You get your safety. Don't know if he's going to contribute off rip, but definitely get someone that can come in and contribute. This is going to be interesting. So you got Jackson Dart still here. This is the 5th round. You know, oh man. You got Quinn Ewers and Jackson Dart. You know, Jackson Dart, I think Ole Miss, it's just, you look good at Ole Miss because they don't run a lot of like crazy stuff. And when these guys come to the NFL, they don't look good. Quinn Ewers, you're in more of a pro style offense. And I think, you know, honestly, when you look at this, man, you got all your quarterbacks right here. They all fell. You got Kyle McCord, you got Jackson Dart, you got Quinn Ewers. I'll be straight up with you right now. I think you're taking a quarterback in this round. You know, if the 5th round comes and this really turns out like this, where Jackson Dart, Quinn Ewers, and Kyle McCord are all right there, I think you have to take you got to take a quarterback. Oh, man. But see, here's the thing. You don't want to get a project, you know, and you can see, like, when he plays good teams, LSU, you know, Oklahoma, not really that great this year. Plays Georgia, he played pretty decent. This is tough. You know, I mean, yeah, Quinn Ewers, he looked faulty towards the end. Like, he looked pretty trash towards the end. You know, when he had these games against Georgia and he had these games, you know, we got benched and all that stuff. I guess 5th round, you take Jackson Dart, you get that potential pick. You know, you can still go ahead and pick a quarterback next year if things fall apart, but you get that potential pick that can turn into something just in case. All right, so now I think we got our quarterbacks. You don't have to look at that. CJ West is a name that we should keep a lookout for. Another defensive interior, big dude, big old buddy, 317, a space eater. You got Seth McLaughlin. Just in case, you know, you have another center. I think we're good with Aaron Brewer. You know, you have someone there. Tyler Cooper is somebody that you could take a look at as well. Pretty big guard. You know, Tyler Cooper is going to be that monster dude. He's Cody Lindbergh's there as well. I think you already got your running back. Dorian Strong is here. Dorian Strong, I think, can play. He's a corner. I mean, if this draft shapes up like this, there's a lot of picks in these last. RJ Oben, he's going to be your pass rusher right here. And I think right now, with what we've gotten, the picks right now that we have tackle, we have defensive lineman. Don't worry about the Jalen Milroe thing. Jack Kaiser, Billy Bowman, Jackson Dart. I think maybe you want to go for trenches again. You know, I think, you know, you got your safety, you got your linebacker. You want to go for the trenches. And I think CJ West is another space-eating defensive tackle that if he's still here in the 5th round like this, I think he's another guy, really good, high floor. You know, Seth McLaughlin, you don't really need a center. Tyler Cooper's another dude that's you know, potential guy. Yeah, I think you go CJ West. I think you draft another defensive interior. You start loading up this line. Yeah, I like that. I like how this draft is turning out, honestly. This draft is turning out fantastic. So right now, this is just going to be gathering whoever's the best player available. And I think right now, potential-wise, Smail Mundin is one of those that he is a high-flying linebacker. You know, he's got all the intangibles of a linebacker that can really perform well. I think when you're looking at linebackers, another shot at a Channing Tindall. In these later rounds, you're just getting potential players. You're getting players that you think could possibly have an impact coming into this year. And when you look at a lot of these players, you could go Theo Wise. He might be the pick here. Actually, I'm looking at Theo, and man, that might be someone. You can have, a red zone area. The contested catch is not great, but you want to go for potential. So I'm thinking Theo Wise here. I'm thinking, Jalen Walker's here. He's another very solid pick. Man, these are a lot of good picks. He's a flying linebacker. Smell Munden is a flying around. I mean, he's probably going to run a 4.4 at his 40. Like, he's probably going to be one of the highest testing combine. Timothy McKay is another one. I think he's this towering dude, 6'4", 312. Oh man, Hunter Wohler, he's a good pick too. Oh man. I don't know what to do here. Yeah, you know what? I think you go Timothy McKay. I think all those guys are great, fine, dandy, but you have receivers. I think Timothy McKay is the pick here, man. He had some whiffs though. He's a potential pick. Like, he's just not. I think you get your big down the field threat. I think Theo Wise. He played well against, decent teams. Oklahoma, South Carolina, he played pretty decent. Iowa has a good defense. I think you need that big receiver that can come in and you could get that end zone. And then here's where I'll pick somebody. Let's see. This is going to be a huge potential pick. Very small guy. I wouldn't go there. Joshua Gray is also here. Another big-bodied dude. Who do I go for? I think... Man, I think you gotta go another offensive lineman. Xavier Truce. Joshua Gray. I think you got to go Joshua Gray. I think you got to go another offensive lineman. Fill up the trenches. Now we're in round 7. And Moliki Matavo, I think definitely has to be somebody you look at. 6'6", 263, a big blocking tight end. I don't think there's even a choice here. I think you got to get him. He's the blocking tight end that you have. All right. So that's going to be the mock draft that I think. First round, you're going offensive lineman. If you're not going, defensive lineman, you get Armand Membo. He's going to be the best fit, I think, besides Kelvin Banks. It's going to be one of those two. Then you got Omar Norman Lott, who's that big run-stuffing, pass-rushing defensive tackle. Don't worry about this pick. We don't have a third round. And I think fourth round, Jack Kaiser's there. You get Jack Kaiser. Billy Bowman in the later fourth round. You get your safety, Jackson Dart, in the fifth round. If he's there, that's going to be a solid pickup. CJ West, you get in the fifth round, another big body defensive tackle. Theo Weiss, you get your big receiver. And then Joshua Gray and Maliki Matavo. I honestly think that's not a bad draft. I think you got a lot of guys that can come in and contribute immediately. So yeah, as you can see, first one, I want Membo just because, it could be a toss-up between Kelvin Banks and Armand Membo. But it's basically you want a pulling guard that can essentially get to the outside very quickly and be able to run block for Devon Achane because he's fast, man. When you have these slower guards, they can't get out there that quick, so then Devon Achane just runs right into defenders. And Jalen Wright's going to make an impact next year too. So you get him, you get Omar Norman Lott, who's going to be that big dude that just takes up all of the space in the middle. You get that guy, and then you kind of fill out the draft later on. You get the high potential players that have a high floor that can contribute immediately instead of the potential guys. Because Mike McDaniel, Chris Greer, you don't have time for potential. You don't have time for players that have potential. You need players that can come in and contribute immediately, that can come into your team and contribute immediately. If you can get 3 players that are on the field this year from this draft, I think you got it. I think you did a great job. If you get more, great. But if you can get 3 players, if your first 2 picks play immediately, and then you get one of the later rounds, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, to come in and contribute, I think you're good to go. I think you can really make a difference with that. But as always, guys, comment down below. Let me know who you would want to pick. Love you all. Fins up, baby. Peace.